No, X requires free. Just found that out. Yep. What about the that you got it. Okay. Welcome to the Sports Porch. Welcome one and all. Welcome to the Sports Porch, Philadelphia. Time to get your Porch on. Where we talk all things Philadelphia sports all over the world. We're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And of course, we drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or
anywhere you get your flippin' podcasts.
It's friggin', but we'll let you go with flippin' today, Schwaber.
I'm flipping it around a little bit.
There you go.
Flipping it around.
Okay, so what do we talk about? Well, we talk about things in pages or stages or whatever you want to call it, and obviously we got to talk about the Phillies, the home run derbies tonight. Alec
Bohm Run.
Alec Bohm Run is in the.
He's actually, believe it or not, the home run derby contestant entering the competition with the lowest amount of home runs ever.
Yeah, 8
in a
is
season.
it 8, 7, or 8?
11.
Yeah. Oh,
11.
Is it 11? I thought it was less. Okay,
11.
Page 2, we're going to talk a little Sixers and Embiid's in the Olympics. Page 3, maybe chat a little bit about the Eagles. And then, of course, there's a big cheesesteak competition going on right now.
Yes, it is.
A lot of people are getting excited about it.
Over 4,000 votes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So let's move to page 1. Page 1, of course, the Phillies. The Phillies at the All-Star break have the most wins since 1974, right?
Yes, most wins for, I'm not sure if it's National and American League, but it's at least National League since 1974. And I believe in 1974 was the Dodgers.
Okay, nice.
They're having a great first half. I mean, you can't really complain too much about it.
No, I mean, they didn't go out. They didn't go into the break with with smiles on their faces. But I feel like that was kind of a
but
they're just I'm ready to take a break.
You know what, though, I have to say, look, I mean, yeah, there's not really anything to complain about. How can you complain about the best record in baseball, and by a good amount too? I mean, I think the next closest team might be like 3.5 back,
right?
But it just does drive me nuts. This was the first game the entire season.
Yeah.
That they decided to go bullpen game.
Oh, well.
Let's do the opener.
We know what happened.
The 1-inning opener.
Yeah.
And then all the guys who are going to go back to AAA got their turn to give up 3 home runs each. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's not much you can do about that. Although... And they have such a large lead at this point. Still 60 plus games to go, 70 games or so to go. And, you got to hope that if Atlanta closes the gap, that a game like this doesn't come back to haunt them. That's why I don't like bullpen games, because you just don't know. I mean, you're giving up a win.
Well, yeah, that's the bottom line. You're giving up a win. And, and here's the thing. So I know for a fact that what they're going to do, and they did this last year in the second half, and I actually think it's a very smart way of going about it, because it protects your arms so they can be fresher in the postseason.
Right.
Is they already said that after the All-Star break, the Phillies are going to go to a 6-man rotation. Why don't you just start the 6-man rotation now? Why don't you just have somebody start now? With the intent of going 5 innings.
Well, I mean, because I can't give you the answer to that question because I would say, why not have a 5 or 6-man rotation to start the year?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, set your rotation in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And, back in the day, that's what they did.
Right.
And, the other thing is that the whole pitch count there. There's been a lot of this going around the sports shows since Paul Skeens of the Pirates got pulled after 99 pitches, thrown a no-hitter and set through 7 innings. But the discussion has applied to all professional sports, mostly basketball and baseball,
Mhm.
because in basketball, you've got what they call load management. And in
Mhm.
baseball, you've got, pitch counts and inning counts.
Right.
And
Football, you just got to win the game.
Yeah.
There's not too many of them.
That's right. That's
You know?
right. Although who knows? I mean, they're talking about adding an 18th game at
Right.
some point, which I think that would be ridiculous. I don't want to see those guys play 18 games.
Well, the whole thing that's stupid about that is you can't sit there and say that you're trying to make the game safer and add games.
Yeah, that's right.
That is not safe.
No. So back to the Phillies, as far as pitching goes, and as far as that last game, what was it, 14-2, right? But
I think it was like 18
or 19. It was like 19 to 2 or
it was
something.
18-3.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was a lot of runs.
Yep. And they still have the best run differential.
I know. So, at this point right now, you can kind of say, look, they were writing that one off, and they were sailing into the break with the best record in baseball, looking pretty good. So as long as they just put that game in the rearview mirror, you just go back to right back to where you were. Just keep the pedal to the metal and ride into the postseason. But
I'll tell you
if they end up losing the division, God forbid. I mean, seriously, that would be a monumental collapse.
Yeah.
But if they end up tying Atlanta or losing the division by one game, this will be the game everybody looks at.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't really think that that's going to happen. But
I don't either.
But but I think I will say though that there is. I mean, look, there's two things that are pretty apparent, which is number one, they could use a right-handed bat with pop, in the outfield.
Right.
And to me, I also wouldn't mind having a closer. Now Jeff Hoffman. Now, look, if the plan is going forward, Jeff Hoffman is going to be the closer, I can accept that because I think he's really darn good. And I think he'll put up really good numbers if you put him out there for the ninth inning.
Right.
The problem I see, though, is I don't think that's the way Topper's going to do it. I think Topper's going to do it where it's matchup. So if you have some big righties in the eighth, he's going to pitch Hoffman in the eighth, and then he's going to bring in Alvarado in the ninth.
Right.
And to be honest, Alvarado has been very up and down this year. And sometimes he has trouble finding the plate. So I have concerns about Alvarado in the playoffs, and I also have concerns about Sir Anthony Dominguez, who is also very up and down. Like he'll have like 19 starts and not give up a run, and then like yesterday he'll like give up 5.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like so, to me, I'll tell you what will be the perfect trade. Now, I will say that watching the A's. I had never watched this Rooker play.
Yeah.
That guy's good.
Right.
That guy's really good. I think he hit like 3 or 4 home runs in the series.
Yeah.
And he hit blasts. He hit one over the ivy in center field.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to get my hands on him.
Right.
And I would love to get their closer.
Mason Miller.
Now, I mean, you think Paul Skeens throws hard? Mason Miller's clocked at 104.
Yeah, he's Mason Miller is from the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah. I mean, that dude, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard. So I would love to get those two guys.
I got a feeling both of those guys are probably going to, it depends on what I would say that if you're the A's, who do you trade? Because one of those guys is going to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would trade Mason Miller.
Right.
Because he's a reliever he's in the bullpen.
Right.
I would keep Rooker.
And when you barely have any wins, what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point?
Right.
Exactly. And a team like the Phillies might actually pay a good price for Mason Miller.
Yeah.
And if I'm the Phillies,
I still wouldn't give up your top 3 prospects, but I'd give away anything else. 4 or 5 couple players.
Yeah. For Miller, I say that they don't really need a bat. They don't really need a bat. It's always good to have depth, but a guy like Miller coming out of the bullpen in the late innings, because that's where it's going to matter as the competition gets tighter. And once you get into the playoffs, you're going to be facing a lot better pitching.
Well, they kind of need a bat.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I don't want to say they don't.
Yeah, they kind of do. Like
right.
now you got like Rojas is now playing amazing center field. He's getting all these incredible catches out there. But, you know, the bottom line is he's hitting 230.
Yeah, he's not hitting the ball.
And so, you know, that's your 9 hitter. And, you know, like if you've got, you know, Brandon Marsh, very good hitter against righties, but not so much against lefties. So, you know, if you're facing a left-hander and, you know, your last couple batters are Marsh and Rojas and maybe like Castellanos or something, who is very streaky and has those times where he can't hit the ball, you know, then all of a sudden it's like you got like an inning's worth of outs there.
Right.
You know, and look, that's the thing. I mean, look, we can look at some teams and compare the Phillies to them. And we can say the Phillies have a dominant lineup because, you know, they got 6 guys who could be in the All-Star game. But the reality is when you're playing the best of the best, you kind of need all 9 guys to be able to do something.
Yeah.
And most of the teams that are within reach of the Phillies do have 9 guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it's the trade deadline is 2 weeks away.
Yep.
The rumors are swirling everywhere.
Yep.
And it really doesn't matter until they actually make a move.
Right.
And we know the Phillies are going to make a move because just about every team in contention makes a move. There's always, like you said, they don't really need a bat, but they kind of need a bat. There's always a soft spot in a lineup, in any lineup. And there's always a soft spot in the bullpen. So you're looking to make a deal and we'll see what happens there. But for now, it is All-Star game time, and the Home Run Derby is tonight. And if you're watching live, we're distracted because we've got the pregame on ESPN right now on the television in the studio, and Mark can't help himself. He has to watch every friggin' minute, and I am just facing it, so I can just stare at it without turning my head. But so that's page 1. We'll see how Bohm Run does in the Home Run Derby.
So the question is,
yeah,
like, you know, is this? I have a feeling this is going to be a one or the other. Like either Bohm is going to just totally fall flat on his face and he's going to hit like 3 home runs and it's going to be terrible. Or is this the, you know, the kind of thing where like all of a sudden the guy who has the least amount of home runs doesn't hit any like scorchers, but hits a zillion of them like right over the wall and then ends up winning.
Yeah. Well, the one thing about the Home Run Derby that scares me a little bit is you look at players in it, and I don't know, you know, Bohm is an interesting addition, but you look at a guy like Gunnar Henderson. They were talking about this. You know, he's a line drive hitter. So some guys, like I think Bobby Abreu, when he was in the
well, I think and Bohm is a line drive hitter.
Right. When Bobby Abreu was in the Home Run Derby, didn't he win it that year?
He did,
and he only hit like 3 or 4 home runs the rest of the year because he actually adjusted his swing for the Home Run Derby.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, you look at a guy like Alec Bohm. Well, he wasn't he didn't contribute home runs to the Phillies offense to win games, a whole lot of them. You know, he contributed in a different way. And he just, you know, when he gets a hold of one, it goes over the fence.
Right.
If he adjusts his swing, he could strike out more. You look at a guy like Gunnar Henderson, 28 home runs. Well, he's just got a lot of power, but he's a line drive hitter. If he adjusts his swing now, if his launch angle is up, is he swinging and missing more?
Right.
That's the one thing about the Home Run Derby that is kind of concerning. But in all honesty, it's a fun thing to watch. You know, I mean, it's like guys crushing balls. It's
fun.
I was at the Home Run Derby for one of the All-Star games in Pittsburgh 30 years ago, and I was watching Frank White and Ken Griffey Jr. This is in the old Three River Stadium. Or Frank Thomas, thank you. And Ken Griffey Jr. in old Three River Stadium, and they were launching balls into the stratosphere. Yeah. When these guys, it's like it's one thing when a guy gets a hold of one. It's another thing when they're actually trying to get a hold of one, and the pitches are coming in right at the right speed, batting practice speed. I mean, they can absolutely destroy baseballs.
Right.
And we went to
Bull Blast.
The Bull Blast in Philly. Yeah.
Bull Blast, Greg Lazinski versus Dave Kingman.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So they could crush it.
Yeah, definitely.
Do they still do it?
I don't.
They
He's
move the
probably like
fences in.
75.
Yeah, they move the fences into the infield.
That would be interesting, though. You know, like that would be interesting if no, I don't think anybody's ever suggested it, but you know what they should do? They should get Ryan Howard.
Yeah, he could
have him go up against some big dude from some other team.
Yeah,
like how about like a Ryan Howard Albert Bell?
Derby? That would be interesting. I don't know if Bell is. How old is he now? He's got to be close to 50.
Maybe like a Gary Sheffield.
Yeah, Sheffield's pretty old too. Yeah. They're getting up there. But yeah, it would be interesting. Yeah, that would be great. All right, so good luck to Alec Boehm run. And hopefully that starts at 8:00 or 7:00, I think. Or no, 8:00.
Right.
Yeah.
And somebody pulled out of the All-Star game, so Christopher Sanchez did get in.
Yeah.
So good for him. So the Phillies have 8 All-Stars. That's a team record and ties the league record. So
awesome.
Exciting.
All right. Page 2.
Moving on.
The Sixers. I mean, it's a debate we can have, but there's going to be, Embiid's playing in the Olympics.
Right.
But should he?
I'm 50-50 on it. Like I feel like on one hand, my God, the guy gets hurt all the time. Why would you want to risk him getting hurt again?
Yeah.
In meaningless games? To me, they're meaningless.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, to them, they're not.
Right.
To most true Americans, though, Mark,
right,
they're very meaningful.
Right. But then there is the flip side to it. The flip side to it is, being in a locker room with all those champions, and just kind of like learning from those guys and hopefully participating in, a team that wins a gold medal. I think that could be good for you.
I agree to a certain extent,
mm-hmm.
but these guys are superstars.
Yeah.
And I just look, he's playing no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more about, if he gets injured, that's just a bad thing.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to tell him he can't play. I don't think Nick Nurse had a conversation with him. Are you sure you want to be on the team? I mean, maybe these things happen behind closed doors, but it's one of those things where you just look at it and you say, okay, just gonna have to survive this.
Right.
And hope that nothing comes out of it, and that ruins his career.
Right.
Because it's not like they're playing pickup games. It's hard, solid basketball. And it's against European teams.
Oh yeah, they were playing a game against some other country the other day, and Embiid basically set a pick kind of and kind of an elbow to the face and really crushed the dude, and the dude got up and he was screaming in his face and stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard basketball.
Yeah, it's real basketball. Yeah. So it's a little different than some of the other sports. Well, I don't want to say that, maybe hockey or something like that, but you always have to worry when your star players are and the seed of your franchise is playing in basically what's considered to be an exhibition run, but injuries, they can happen. Now, look, Embiid could fall down the stairs in his home,
right? Yeah.
And hurt himself too,
right?
But he's not putting himself out there, so. I mean, to ask the question, should Embiid play in the Olympics? I don't want to say no. But for the Sixers' sake,
I would no. I would say this though. If I was the owner of the Sixers and I was the one who was actually paying him $51 million a year,
right?
I would say I don't want you to play.
Yeah.
I probably would.
Yeah.
Because I want to raise a trophy. I don't care about the gold medal.
Yeah.
You know?
We kind of stopped caring about the gold medal when the first Dream Team won it. Then it was kind of like, we got the best players. And then we moved on.
Right.
As a fan base.
Exactly.
I don't think I've watched Olympic basketball since.
No, I will. I will tell you this. The NBA has grown as a world game.
Yeah, it has.
For sure. Just take, for example, like 2 of the top 3 picks, I think, were from France.
Right.
But and so, like, for example, like the other day USA played Australia and they only won like 99 to like 92.
Yeah. So it was a close game.
Yeah. So I mean, look, these other teams can play, but I mean, if the USA team plays, to most of their ability, they should win.
Yeah. Right. And do we really care?
No.
So right.
It's just not like it used to be.
No, it's not. But at the same time, if you're talking about the Josh Harris, how are you going to tell your star player he can't play for his country in the Olympics? Right. Even if you're like, I'm paying you $51 million, I need you to stay here. I mean, you're not going to do that.
And that's the other thing. Now, and forgive me if I'm coming across as being insensitive to a guy who has become a U.S. citizen.
Right.
But I almost feel like it would be more understandable if he was playing for Cameroon.
Right. We talked about this last week.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Because like that, to me, like that's your pride.
Yeah. That's where you're actually from.
Right. That's where you're from. And you lived the early years of your life there.
Yeah.
And
like, come on, you're not an American.
I mean, like Embiid, actually, I heard him talking and he was saying, like, he's like, I have so much love for this country. This country has done so much for me.
Which is true.
I came over here and the opportunities that were presented to me, I couldn't have got anywhere else in the world. But, at the same time, like, wouldn't that just be like saying, what if he was like an incredible soccer player? Right.
Yeah, right.
And he was playing for Real Madrid or something, or Manchester United.
Right.
And wherever those teams are, let's say they're in England. Okay.
They are.
Okay.
Well, not Real Madrid, but,
right,
but Manchester United.
Yeah, is in England. So
Real
then, like,
Madrid is in Spain.
If he was like a soccer prodigy and then he went to like London, played with Manchester United for 6 years, and now he's playing for England. Like,
well, it happens all the time.
I don't know.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So well, hey, good luck to him. I hope they win the gold. I hope he stays injury free for the Sixers' sake. And when it's all over,
bring home the gold.
That's right. Bring home the real trophy. Okay, let's move on to page 3 here. Maybe a little quick little Eagles talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is we talk about this on our other show. This is the dead zone, and
well, they did actually have. There was something that came out today.
Okay,
where there was a rating list, and it was like the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and they didn't have Jalen Hurts in the top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was number 10?
So in the dead zone, this is who you.
Who was number 10? I can't believe that they wouldn't put Jalen Hurts in the top 10. I mean, he's not 1 or 2,
right?
Maybe not even 3 or 4, but top 5.
Let's see. I will pull it up.
Uncomfortable silence.
I will pull it up.
That just makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean,
it was an ESPN.
Of course it was.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to hate on the Eagles now. They are.
Are they?
Yeah. Yeah. They're not the new. It's not when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, it was somewhat of a surprise,
right?
And then they were the darlings.
So apparently the folks that voted on this were executives, coaches, and scouts.
Okay.
Okay.
What do they know? Nothing.
And then
they
reminder of the rankings. So voters get they vote for the best 10 players at the position.
Okay. Okay. Let's get to that. Let's get to the play.
You don't care.
We don't
just
care. I can't believe he's not in the top. I can't believe he's not number 10 if he's going to be in a top 10. If he's not going to be in a top 10 list, I mean, come on.
I have to get the list from somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
Because
Mark's having technical difficulty because he's not the technical director.
Oh, by the way, the NFL is now ESPN is now doing their list of the top 100 players.
Oh, yeah.
So Jalen Carter of the Eagles comes in at player number 41. The only second-year player in the top 50. To be honest, I think that's a little high.
I do too. Yeah, I mean, I do.
They're just basically thinking that he's
going to be better.
He's going to be great.
All right. Do we have that top 10 list yet?
I'll get to it.
Okay.
But first,
you're getting distracted.
While I'm looking for it,
mm-hmm.
Tell me what you think about, Nick Sirianni taking on the role of CEO head coach, basically entrusting the offense to Kellen Moore and entrusting the defense to Vic Fangio.
You mean?
Do you like that approach?
You mean old school?
Do you like that approach, or do you like the head coach that calls the plays?
You mean? Wait a minute. You mean he's doing it the way they always did it, and until just a few years back?
Well,
I agree with it. I agree with it. I think it's good. I think you have to let when you're the head coach, you have got to be able to delegate responsibilities. That's basically what you are.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the face of the team. You set the tone. This is the type of team we're going to be. You collaborate with the GM. You collaborate with the owner. You put together a roster based on your an offense based on your offensive coordinator's vision for what the team's going to be. You guys come to an agreement, and you dictate, okay, this is what I want to be, and you find a guy like Kellen Moore who's on the same page as you, and then you say, now go do it. And you do the same thing with the defensive coordinator, and Vic Fangio knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Kellen Moore is a little newer at the job, but he's had success.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've got a lot of the pieces you need on offense already. So absolutely, you let that guy do his thing, and of course, during the games, you can override plays. You're the boss.
Mm-hmm.
But if the game is going well, if the game plan seems to be working, 9 times out of 10, you were in the meeting, between you and the offensive coordinator. You came up with the game plan. Same thing for the defense. So what it does is it allows you to look at the bigger picture during the game and maybe make some calls that matter. Now you're paying more attention to the clock. You're paying more attention to the replays. You're paying more attention to the pace of the game and what the other team is throwing at you. Mm-hmm. That's what you are. So I agree. And I think it's a great thing that if he's able to do that. A lot of people think nowadays that it's a hands-off approach.
So you really like it.
I do really like it. Absolutely. A lot of people today think, oh, well, it's just hands off then. And
mm-hmm.
that's really not the case. It's not hands off. It's trusting the people that you've hired to do the jobs that they were hired to do at an exceptional level. And that's the way any organization is run, but part of being a leader is being able to delegate and let those people do their thing.
Yep.
And I think last year, the real issue with the coordinator issues wasn't necessarily that Sirianni wasn't letting them do their thing. It was that he had to step in because they weren't on the same page. And you could tell that communication was crossing there, and it wasn't making it from one side to the other. There were a lot of questionable calls.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of questionable things that happened during games.
Yep.
So this is Sirianni saying, okay, I have the guys I want. And he's basically communicating to us that we've got a good structure in place, and I trust these guys. They're going to do the job right. I think that's a positive. How about you?
I do too. Mm-hmm. I actually think it's a positive as well. I have the list now.
Okay, finally. Okay. Good God, I thought I was going to have to talk forever about that.
So obviously, number 1, Mahomes. That's a given.
Yeah.
Number 2, they go Burrow.
I don't know how you can do that. Well, I mean, I
guess Burrow got his team to a Super Bowl too.
Well, and
they didn't win.
Burrow's in the top 5, but he didn't play last year.
Yeah. Number 3, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good. He's real good.
Yeah.
Number 4, Lamar Jackson.
I guess what I'm saying is Jalen Hurts better than Mahomes? No.
Right.
Is Jalen Hurts better than Burrow?
I think it's close.
Maybe.
I think it's close.
Is Jalen Hurts better than Josh Allen? Same thing. Close.
Lamar Jackson. I think he might be better than Lamar Jackson, to be honest. I mean,
are you talking regular season versus playoffs?
Well, I think
Jackson sucks in the playoffs.
Well, right. That's the thing. I mean, I think it's all got to factor in. I mean, like, Jalen Hurts did bring his team to within a millimeter of a Super Bowl, and Lamar Jackson hasn't even been close.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's so we just did the top. Those are the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Who's number 5? And then I'll get a comment in.
Matt Stafford.
Yeah, absolutely not. Jalen Hurts is definitely much better than Stafford right now.
Yeah. Now, maybe a couple years ago, Stafford.
And that's where I was going. I mean, if you put Hurts next to Mahomes, body of work, definitely not.
Right.
Mahomes next to Burrow, body of work, close. I would, yes, Burrow did get his team to the Super Bowl one year. So did Jalen Hurts. Josh Allen, no. I would say Jalen Hurts is better. Look at the body of work.
You could.
Okay.
You could.
Lamar Jackson, there's a body of work there that's a little bit longer than Hurts. So I would say Jackson has the edge. But in the playoffs, Jackson really hasn't done anything. But he's done it for longer.
Right.
Okay. Stafford, not right now. No way.
No, not now.
No way. Okay. So who's number 6?
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, no. Hurts is better than Herbert.
Same thing. Hasn't won anything.
It hasn't won a single thing.
Then this is kind of like a popular pick. CJ Stroud.
Yeah, forget it. Not right now. Too early.
Not after one season.
Too early.
Right?
Yeah, too early.
Number 8, Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, he hasn't played in a year, he hasn't won anything in 10.
And he's 39.
Right. Yeah. This is a bullshit list.
Yeah. Number 9, Goff.
No,
I don't think so.
No.
And then number 10, Dak Prescott.
What? I mean, that just burns my ass.
So I think we've settled that this list is ridiculous.
That list is garbage. That's you know what that is? That's ESPN clickbait, because that's all they do now is clickbait.
Right.
Everything.
Right.
So I mean, for stats they're good because the stats are the stats, but everything else is garbage.
Yep.
But we'll see. We'll see what goes on. As Steve says, matching hats. How cute. Not really. Mine is white. Mark's is
gray.
Off white to gray. Right. And Burrow is a bum. Of course, he would think that. You know what? This is going to be the year for Joe Burrow where he proves that either A, he's here to stay at a higher level, or B, he is a bum. Because first of all, he can't stay on the field.
Right.
And second, for me, the jury's out on him.
I feel like that team is falling apart a little bit.
I don't know. We'll see. This is the year where they either come together or they don't. And of course, he didn't play last year, most of last year.
Right.
So it's really hard to make a judgment when somebody doesn't have any product they're putting on the field. Right. So what are you going to do? Yeah. So, but yeah, this is the dead zone for football. Camp starts in a week and a half.
Yeah, it starts pretty soon. Yeah, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah, so then things will fire up, and we'll have more to talk about. And think about it, this fall is going to be pretty exciting when you have the Eagles starting to play, the NFL season coming on board. The Phillies, barring some sort of monumental collapse, looks like we're going to be covering a little playoff baseball. Then you'll have the NBA kicking in with a new lineup for the Sixers. Paul George. Yep.
And then Matvey Michkov.
Yeah, and then a big Russian comes into town. So, I mean, we could be really busy in about a month.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be good. But moving on to page 4 here on the Sports Porch Philadelphia. This is something that is near and dear to everybody's heart in Philly, and that is the Philadelphia Beautiful Cheesesteak Challenge. I can't believe I said
the greater.
Yeah, the greater Philadelphia Beautiful Cheesesteak Challenge is on and blowing up. There's almost 4,000 votes.
Apparently, putting greater in the mix has been a godsend.
Yeah, because
I haven't now watched. Some people be listening, and now I'll start getting comments. But I haven't gotten the "it's not in Philadelphia" comment.
Yeah. Well, there's some across the bridge in Jersey,
right? Because I say greater Philadelphia area.
Yeah. I noticed that when you put that up, and I thought, that could be good or bad. We'll see what happens. But yeah,
right. Now the other thing, there was one person today that gave a little flack. Look, I think this is remember when Jim's had a fire
Yep.
and burnt down?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with still including them because they were rebuilding, right?
Right.
And so one of the place that came in 9th last year was a place called Barry's.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure the situation, but the building that they were in was demolished.
Right.
They are planning on reopening.
Yeah.
And so I can include them. They were number 9 last year. They're going to open again. One guy's like, they can't be in a competition if they're not open.
Yeah.
Well, why not? You know what they taste like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're coming back. And, and actually, it was a really cool little shout out to the ownership at Barry's. I thought it was really cool that they actually were really kind of heartwarmed by still being in the competition.
Mm-hmm.
They basically said like, hey, when times are tough, then you get to see that, we got all these fans out there and loyal customers that are hanging with us and just waiting for us to reopen. Thank you, Philadelphia Beautiful, for, letting people know that we're still out there.
Right. I saw that.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The real answer to the issue as to whether or not somebody can be in a contest to the person who wrote that comment is, this is Mark's contest. He can put anybody in he wants.
That's right. That's right. And if you don't watch yourself, you might get
banned. You might not care.
If you don't check yourself, you're going to wreck yourself.
There you go. Straight from the Grand Schwabini. Yeah, I think. How far are we through the first round?
Well, when we wake up tomorrow, we'll have 10 of our 16.
Okay, so we got a little bit to go. A few days to go.
So what we got here so far, winners, we got Curly's.
Curly's was the winner from last year.
Lilo's.
You're going to have to talk into the mic, buddy.
Okay, Lilo's, who came in second,
right,
is back in the round of 16. We also have Mama's, Barry's, Chubby's, Donkeys, Steve's, John's Roast Pork, or otherwise known as JRP.
Yeah, I love these.
And then the big upset was Gazzo's coming in and knocking off last year's number 3, Jay's. Now to tell you about that matchup, that was Gazzo's 676 to Jay's 602.
Wow, pretty close.
So pretty close and a lot of votes.
Yeah.
It looks like today Angelo's is going to be taking out Pat's. It's pretty much a runaway.
Yeah.
As, the old guard, the OGs get no respect.
Yeah, Pat's and Geno's.
They get absolutely no respect, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the cheesesteaks have evolved.
They have.
And, and I to be honest, I think the other part of it is that when people say tourist trap, right?
Yeah.
The main reason why they're saying that is because anytime that there's, a game in Philly, like an Eagles game or a playoff game,
there's a line.
They show the shot of, Geno's and Pat's lit up at night.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's kind of like in the middle of a neighborhood in South Philly, out of nowhere, and all of a sudden looks like Las Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why, when people come into Philadelphia,
they go there.
They think, oh, well, let's go there, the place they showed on the Eagles game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and it's very convenient because Geno's and Pat's are right across from each other.
Right.
They're notorious competitors.
Right.
And really, they were the first. They are the OGs.
Right.
And we spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
At mostly at Pat's.
Yeah.
I did try a Geno's steak.
Yeah.
I'm a Pat's fan.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I've had a lot of cheesesteaks in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Pat's is one of my favorites. It just is. I mean, I've had steaks at Jim's. I've had steaks at Abner's. I've had steaks at a bunch of places around Philly. Pat's was the first time I ever had a real cheesesteak because you took me there.
Right.
And it will forever be one of my favorites.
Right.
And this year, when we travel out to Philly to congratulate the winner and try some cheesesteaks, we'll see if that changes, but I really don't think it will. And Pat's did put a post. I
think it will. I think it will.
Maybe it will.
I mean, I've sort of evolved that I can't. It's not that I think they're terrible or anything, but I just think that there's a lot of other cheesesteaks that are better.
Okay, so
but it's all opinion though.
It is opinion.
It's all a matter of what you like.
Yeah.
I mean, like for example, like Pat's actually does their steaks a little bit different than almost everybody in that they're almost kind of like flat meat.
Yeah.
you know, as
yeah.
compared to the chopped. I mean, almost every other place is chopped.
Right.
So if you don't like that flat meat, like you're not going to like Pat's.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. And I did check. I always check the social media page of of the contestants. And you were talking about cheesesteaks evolving. One thing I did see, Pat's posted a day or so ago. They have breakfast sandwiches, breakfast steaks now, with like eggs and bacon on them. Yeah, really? So they're trying to evolve.
Yeah, they're trying to evolve.
It did make me hungry when I saw the pictures. I was like, oh man, I could have some bacon and eggs on one of those buns. That sounds awesome.
With some cheese whiz.
Yeah, with a little whiz. Yeah. Give me a bacon and egg whiz with.
right.
So it's not that they're not gonna they don't evolve, but we understand. So I mean, we're already at over 4,000 votes now.
Yep.
And last year we had 10,000 votes total in the entire competition, give or take.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go well beyond that this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what we got 6 more days, or no, 3 more days. No, we've got 10 of the 16.
10, so we
11,
got 12, 13, 14, 15.
6 more days, yeah.
Six more battles.
We are good at math. Just use your fingers.
6 more battles to go.
Now, between the round 1 and the Sweet 16, are we going to have a day of rest so these cheesesteak joints can kind of gather themselves and get their supporters together?
We may have a day of rest. I think sometimes
where you announce the 16. Just announce them.
Yeah. We'll have a day of rest where we announce the 16.
Yeah.
And then, what'll happen with that is I'll say that the next, the what would be the quarterfinals is starting like on Monday, and then everybody will like place a vote for one of the 16.
Gotcha.
And I'll have to tell everybody like, no, that doesn't count.
Okay. Yeah.
But I might count it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, you're in charge.
I'm in charge. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. So, keep an eye on Philadelphia Beautiful. If you're watching us on YouTube or LinkedIn, or the Sports Porch Facebook page, Philadelphia Beautiful's Facebook page is where you go to follow and support this contest. It's been a lot of fun so far. We got a long way to go before we announce the champion, but we know number 1 from last year, Curly's, is back in, at least so far. Lilo's did Lilo's. They were 1 and 2. They went head to head, so they're still in it from last year. And then we got some new people like Gazzo's and Gazzo's is the new one.
And we have if we look at our I believe all of our past champions are still alive.
Jim's hasn't been in it yet.
Pudge's is a past champion. They haven't played yet. Del Sandro's is a past champion. They haven't played yet. And Jim's is a past champion. They haven't played yet.
Okay.
John's Roast Pork and Curly's, those 2 previous winners have moved on to the round 8.
Okay. Looks like we got something going. The game is on. So follow Philadelphia Beautiful for the 2024 Greater Philadelphia Cheesesteak Challenge. All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for the Sports Porch Philadelphia.
It's going to wrap it up.
You got anything you want to say? Go Bohm. Hit some Bohm runs.
Hit some Bohm runs.
Alex Bohm run.
And let's go Phils.
All right. Thanks for listening to and watching the Sports Porch Philadelphia on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all over the world. And we will drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere
you get your flipping podcast.
All right. For the Grand Schwabini, I'm your technical director, and I am out. Bye.